All right, the perfect diet. What is the truth? So we're living longer, but we are dying longer. And we're spending more of our life sick with chronic disease and disability. And the goal should be to live as long as possible, but to live a quality of life for as long as we live. And we know this. So many of us have been chasing the rabbit trail of information to find the perfect diet. And we're left frustrated and confused with all the conflicting information. My name is Kristen Cons. I'm a nutrition therapist and natural foods chef and neurostrategist. I've been in the industry for 20 years and national TV for 7, helping to teach women how to feel their best physically and mentally so that they can step into the fullness of who they're created to be. So if you're looking for simple, practical, usable tips and tricks, subscribe below. Okay, so what's the truth? Low carb, no carb, carnivore, keto, raw, vegetarian, vegan, etc., etc., etc. Here's my opinion. 19 out of 20 people in the United States are metabolically inflexible, and they will benefit from a low carb diet invariably. But the confusion is that you can only do low carb for so long before you run into trouble. Now, depending on the carbs, I'm not saying just low carb, but if you're going extremely low. So the body is not made to stay in a super low carb state long term or a high carb state long term. It's made for balance. And anything too extreme long term is going to have consequences. And this mentality of balance, it doesn't sit well with the average American seeking health because we're all about all or nothing. We're all about the extremes. And I'm no different. I'm type A. I love a challenge and I do love the extremes. So I get it. But the health gurus focus on these studies that support their position on this protocol or that protocol. And it's often legit science done in the short term. So maybe, 3, 5, 7 years, maybe at the longest are most of the studies. And most of them are even shorter than that. They're like weeks or maybe a month or something. So many of them are now seeing, after living out these extreme lifestyles, that they aren't getting the benefit that they used to. And in fact, a lot of them are starting to have issues. And the brave ones are coming out and saying, hey, I've reevaluated and we all might need to pivot a little bit. But then there are the ones that have built their whole career on this one lifestyle and they can't bring themselves to announce to their following that they, in fact, secretly do not live this lifestyle anymore exclusively. So we have to be wise and bring common sense back into the picture. It's not that many of these diets are wrong. They are often very therapeutic in and of themselves, and science proves that. But long term, it can be a problem if you're not changing it up. So, from what I've seen, with being in the industry and working with people one on one for almost 20 years now, is that long term health needs balance. And we need to go back to the basics and eat real food, whole foods. We need to get the processed foods out, and we need to move our body daily. And we need to move it in different ways. We need to do strength training. We need to do stretching. We need to do some cardio, but nothing extreme day in and day out. So, in my opinion, we need to not only focus on physical strength and endurance, but our cellular muscles, because at the cellular core, that is where true health happens. We do this by going in and out of a modified keto diet. We do this by fasting. We do not do this all the time. We don't fast all the time. We do this by having some feasting days too. We do this by adding in some of those nature's carbs and doing the unprocessed carbs. Because honestly, in my opinion, If we want to keep things real simple, if you just get the processed foods out, you're going to have a massive improvement in your health if you focus on whole, real foods. So you could throw in some carnivore days, you can throw in some vegetarian days, but the magic happens in the ebbing and flowing in and out of different styles of eating to slightly stress that body so it becomes stronger and more resilient. So when we eat this way and focus on whole, real foods, your hormones balance, your weight gets to the place that it needs to be, whether you need to gain weight or lose weight. It stabilizes your mood, your skin is glowing, your hair looks good. We just overall feel amazing because we're obeying the rules of the cell. And when we do that, that's when health happens. It's also a joyful and interesting and fun way to eat when we're ebbing and flowing in and out of different styles versus just something so rigid where we're taking out certain food groups and that's how you feel like you have to live for the rest of your life. This just isn't sustainable for most people long term, nor do I think it's healthy. So, sure, there's no problem with going extreme for a season to challenge ourselves, to experiment, to see what we're made of. But the problem lies in adhering to this extreme lifestyle long term. So, we get that dopamine hit from chasing after the next best thing. But what if the answer lies in the basic and the simple? What if we were to work on our mindset, to work to help our body to stick to help our mind stick to the specific diet of eating raw, real foods, real whole foods, instead of going around and around trying to have such extreme measures to our health protocols where we can't stick to it. It's not sustainable. So it really is a mindset thing. And what is long term, you might be asking. So in my opinion, I think it's like, depends on the person and the health and your regimen that you're sticking to. But many are going to say, hey, like I feel great doing carnivore or vegan or keto. And I've been doing this exclusively for 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, whatever. And I feel great. But just keep in the back of your mind, if you're one of those people, if things start to unravel a little bit, you might need to pivot. And that might be why. Okay. So another reason that we get stuck on only one way is that it's quite a process to transition out of an extreme diet. So if we've been eating a certain way for a period of time, our body adjusts. So our digestive enzymes shift, our microbiome shifts. And when we add in food that we haven't eaten in a long time, our body can rebel because it doesn't have the digestive enzymes to digest them because it hasn't needed it. So it just stopped producing those. And same with the microbiome. So that's why people are like, see, that's why I eat that way. This is why I don't stray from this way of eating, because they think that every time they eat another food, they have these bad reactions, but it's just because they have to transition properly and slowly over time. And that's why I love ebbing and flowing out of different ways and styles of eating, because then I have a diverse microbiome and I'm not having to transition and go through, put my body through that stress of trying to, learn to make digestive enzymes and get my gut health back in check and all of that kind of stuff. So it's optimal to kind of ebb and flow. So I'm not here to debate diets. I'm just here to get you to think, to help kind of take the mystery and the confusion out of your health journey and just have more peace and confidence and not get so swayed by the fads and the latest trends. And our health journey honestly should be joyful. And that doesn't mean it's always easy. And we do have to be intentional and we do have to use self-control. But we just have to ask ourselves, what am I really trying to accomplish? And are our thoughts attached to it being hard and tedious and miserable? Or is our mentality that this is a journey, this can be fun, we get to explore so that we can live our life to the fullest? So there can be peace and success in your health journey. And it doesn't have to be such an all consuming endeavor that ends in shame and confusion until you pick yourself back up and start the same cycle over and over with a new protocol. So I just want to encourage you today that you've got this and you're in control of your health, and it's a responsibility and a choice, and perfection is never the goal. Consistency over time with a balanced protocol, that is where you have your control and you're in it for the long run. All right. This is just who you are. When you have that mentality and you mess up one day, it's like no big deal. This is just who you are. You're just going to keep going. All right. So that's how you will age well. You'll feel amazing and you'll have peace with your protocol. Until next time, I'll see y'all soon. If you like this content, subscribe below. If you are looking for more help and you want to work with me personally, you can check out my program, The Vitality Blueprint.